Okay, we're here with Senator Mike Haridopolos, running for the U.S. Senate nomination of the Republican Party. Session ended, you got out more, you've been all over the state. What do you think about, what are you feeling on the trail? What are the people telling you?
Well, people are so happy. We've made promises and kept our promises. Balanced budget, no new taxes, no new fees. We also put a spending cap in long-term on our constitutional amendment process so that we limit spending when the economy recovers. And we took on the entitlement programs, welfare, requiring people to take a drug test or they lose their benefits. And of course, taking on Medicaid, the biggest welfare program in the state, which takes $1 out of $3. People are pleased that we made promises and kept our promises. There's still a lot of work to go to create new jobs.
There's some talk maybe the House and the Senate weren't on the same page, but the Speaker, Dean Cannon, just endorsed you. Tell us a little bit about what that endorsement means to you, and what was the situation in the House and the Senate? Is there going to be any problem carrying over to the next session, or?
Well, first and foremost, it was a session that we asked for, meaning that we made 5 promises, we met every one of those promises. Dean Cannon and I are very close friends. I'm honored to have his endorsement, and on the big issues, we really came together on spending, on taxes. We limited both. And of course, again, we took on entitlement programs, which is the biggest problem right now in Washington, D.C. With the House and Senate are in lockstep now. We have a session that begins early in January, and we're excited to go. Dean's excited, I'm in, and I think when more people hear about what we accomplished, they'll be really excited about next year as well.
What do the people on the trail tell you about Bill Nelson, what they're feeling? Obviously, he's been popular representative for many years, but what are the people telling you their feelings about him these days?
Well, I think when people know the whole story about Bill Nelson, they're not going to like him as much as official. First of all, he's a nice guy. Here spent time with a super nice guy. But he voted the wrong way on Obamacare, on stimulus, cap and trade, card check, and of course he has an F from the NRA. And I think when people find out of his true record, in contrast to my own, on all those I would have voted the opposite way. But most importantly, what separates me between myself and my opponents is I have a record of accomplishment. Balanced budget, no new taxes. We cite the largest budget shortfall. We actually cut taxes this year by $300 million, and it also took on entitlement programs. That's what people are excited about. They want to see a contrast. They want to see a person who has accomplishments to take on Bill Nelson, not just rhetoric.
What are you looking for from Broward, and who are you hoping to reach out to in Broward? What can we do for get the message out?
I'm excited about what's happening in Broward. Most of the major contributors have already signed on to our team. What I'm excited about as well, Jeff Atwater, who's from this area, early endorser. He knows that I'm a true conservative, not just for 1 year, but for my entire career. And so I'm honored to have his endorsement early. And of course, the statewide network is so important because this is not about winning the Republican primary. This is about defeating Bill Nelson and pushing the balanced budget amendment, putting in line item vetoes, and putting a pro-growth agenda forward in Washington, D.C. Bill Nelson's been in office since I was 2 years old. When we really point to his record, what can we really point to as far as accomplishment? I'm a person who transformed the Florida Senate from a liberal place to a very conservative place. And I'm a person who pushed the balanced budget and got it despite a huge budget shortfall and not raising a dime in taxes. And also, I'm a person who understands the big picture. This is about not just, again, winning a primary. It's about winning that general election and being a principled conservative. I'm so glad we're talking about positive ideas. I'm staying on the positive, not going into the dirt. And we need to talk about things we're for, because I think the Republican Party should no longer be the party of no. Let's be the party of better ideas. And we had those this year on the state level, to balance the budget, to take on entitlements, and that's exactly what I'll do in Washington, D.C.
Since the field is growing in the race for Senate on the Republican side, what do you think is going to be the deciding issue, or what do you think is going to be one of the most important issues in this race for Senate?
I think the most important one is that we would have a proven conservative, person who's actually done the work, doesn't just talk about issues, but solve problems, and that's exactly what I am. The number one and number 2 problems we face in Washington are spending and entitlement programs. I have a history of balancing budgets without raising taxes, and I have a history of taking on entitlement programs, and that's what I'm dedicated to. And unless it doesn't hurt that I've raised more money than anybody else in the nation, $2.6 million for any Republican candidate last quarter. We have another solid one going now. We need to win this race because we need principled people there who are proven, and not just temporary conservatives for let's just say, you can say.